Have you ever wondered what happened when Thor, the Norse god of thunder, lost his mighty hammer Mjolnir? Picture this: our powerful deity Thor wakes up one morning stretching his massive arms, reaching out to grab his trusty hammer Mjolnir. But wait, his hand meets nothing but thin air. His hammer, the symbol of his power and might, is nowhere to be found. A wave of panic washes over him. Thor, the formidable god of thunder, without his hammer, is like a king without his crown. He rummages through his abode, his anxiety growing with each passing second. But alas, Mjolnir is nowhere to be found. In his desperation, Thor turns to the one being who might have an idea about the whereabouts of his beloved hammer, the trickster, the shapeshifter, the god of mischief, Loki. Now, Loki and Thor may have a complicated relationship, but the disappearance of Mjolnir is a matter of grave concern for all of Asgard. Loki, ever the opportunist, sees this as a chance to redeem himself in the eyes of the other gods, despite his notorious reputation. He agrees to help Thor in his quest, setting aside their differences, at least for the time being. This unlikely duo, the powerful Thor, stripped of his might, and Loki, the mischievous trickster, are an odd pair indeed. But desperate times call for desperate measures, and they set off on a quest that will take them through realms unknown, facing terrors unimaginable, all in the pursuit of the missing Mjolnir. Their journey will be fraught with danger, filled with twists and turns that will keep them, and us, on the edge of our seats. But will they succeed? Will they find the hammer and restore Thor's might? Or is this the beginning of the end for our beloved god of thunder? And so, the hunt for the lost hammer began, with the unlikely duo of Thor and Loki at its helm. The tale of the missing Mjolnir is one of adventure, camaraderie, and above all, the indomitable spirit of the Norse gods. So buckle up, for we're in for a thrilling ride. Would you believe it if I told you that a giant was behind the theft of the mighty Mjolnir? Yes, you heard that right. The culprit was none other than Thrym, a giant of notorious reputation. Thrym was known for his brute strength, towering height, and an appetite for chaos. He had long coveted the power of Thor's hammer, and seizing an opportunity, he did the unthinkable. He stole Mjolnir. Now, you might be wondering, what was his demand? What did he want in exchange for the hammer? Thrym had his eyes set on the fairest of all Aesir, the goddess of love and beauty, Freya. He demanded her hand in marriage in return for the hammer. A ludicrous demand indeed. Now this is where things get interesting. Loki, the god of mischief himself, hatched a cunning plan. He was known for his quick wit and ability to weave intricate webs of deception. Loki proposed a plan to trick Thrym and retrieve the hammer without having to give up Freya. Loki suggested that they disguise Thor as Freya, dress him in bridal attire, and send him to Thrym's abode. Thrym, blinded by his desire for Freya, would not be able to see through the deception. Once inside Thrym's stronghold, Thor could retrieve his hammer and unleash his wrath on the unsuspecting giant. It was a plan that required audacity, deception, and a fair bit of courage. But it was a risk they were willing to take. The gods agreed to Loki's plan, and preparations began to turn Thor, the god of thunder, into a blushing bride. So, with the stage set for one of the most audacious plans in Norse mythology, the gods prepared for a journey that would test their courage, their cunning, and their resolve. The stage was set for one of the most audacious plans in Norse mythology. Can you imagine Thor, the robust god of thunder, disguised as a bride? Yes, you heard it right. Our tale now takes a turn for the outrageous as Loki hatches a plan that's as cunning as it is comical. You see, Loki, the god of mischief, had a knack for thinking outside the box. He proposed an idea so audacious it could only be his. He suggested that Thor should disguise himself as Freya, the beautiful goddess of love, to fool Thrym, the giant who had stolen Thor's hammer, Mjolnir. The god of thunder was, understandably, less than thrilled at the prospect. Picture him, the mighty Thor, squeezed into a wedding dress adorned with glittering jewels and a delicate veil. Yet the urgency of the situation called for drastic measures. So begrudgingly, he agreed to the farcical disguise. The day of the wedding arrived, and the giants were none the wiser. They marveled at Freya's beauty, albeit a remarkably towering version of her. But the real comic relief came during the wedding feast. Our robust bride was not one for dainty nibbles. Thor, unable to resist his thunderous appetite, devoured an entire ox, ate salmon and all the sweets in sight, much to the giant's astonishment. Thrym, the groom-to-be, was taken aback by his bride's voracious appetite, but Loki, ever the quick thinker, explained it away. He said that Freya had been so anxious for their wedding that she hadn't eaten for 8 days. The giants, smitten and somewhat gullible, believed this tall tale. So, there they were, amidst laughter and feasting, with Thor sitting rather uncomfortably in his bridal finery, the giants none the wiser. As the merriment echoed through the halls and the mead flowed freely, the tension beneath it all was palpable. As the wedding feast drew to a close, the moment of truth was upon them. Would Loki's audacious plan work? Would Thor retrieve his stolen hammer? This deceptive wedding was just the beginning of a story that was about to get even more intriguing. In the end, what do you think happened to Mjolnir, the hammer of Thor? The answer to this question lies in the heart of a tale steeped in deception, power, and the unyielding determination to reclaim what's rightfully one's own. The climax of this saga is nothing short of dramatic. Thor, the god of thunder, disguised as the beautiful Freya, had been patiently biding his time at the wedding feast of Thrym, the king of the giants. The moment he had been waiting for finally arrived when Mjolnir, his beloved hammer, was brought out to sanctify the marriage. No sooner had Mjolnir been placed in his hands than Thor cast off his disguise. His eyes ablaze with fury, he grasped his hammer and invoked its power. The hall trembled as he swung Mjolnir, unleashing a torrent of thunder and lightning. One by one, Thrym and his giant cohorts fell, defeated by the very power they had sought to wield. This epic tale holds a significant place in Norse mythology. It showcases Thor not just as a formidable warrior, but also as a cunning strategist, willing to use deception when necessary. This story underscores the immense power of Mjolnir and the lengths Thor would go to reclaim it, further establishing the hammer as a symbol of protection and the restoration of order. The tale of the theft of Thor's hammer also serves as a reminder that power, no matter how immense, can never be rightfully wielded by those who obtain it through deceit or theft. It illustrates that power in the wrong hands can cause chaos, but when restored to its rightful owner, can bring about justice and peace. And thus, Mjolnir was returned to its rightful owner, reminding us that in Norse mythology, not everything is as it seems. The tales of the Norse gods are filled with such twists and turns, where cunning and strength, deception and truth, chaos and order, all intertwine to weave the rich tapestry of Norse mythology.